What is Anakeesta like during the winter or even the fall? In this final installment of our 4-part video series, we'll learn more about Anakeesta through the seasons and what you can expect when you're visiting. Welcome to Bear Facts, where we explore the Smoky Mountains one bear fact at a time. Wow, we finally made it through all of Anakeesta. For those of you who have been with us for the whole ride, thank you for sticking it out. But for those of you just joining, feel free to follow the links in the description to learn about Anakeesta. In those last 3 videos, we explored all the ins and outs of Anakeesta, learning about the general information, including pricing, how to get tickets, transportation, food, and shopping. In this final installment of the 4-part series, we will look at the 4 seasons and run through how the park changes for each season. Just a quick recap for those of you who are just joining us. Anakeesta is a Smoky Mountain attraction in Gatlinburg that transports guests by chairlift or motorized vehicles up to their mountaintop summit. The base price gets you into the top and allows you access to many fun activities that are included in your price. There are additional activities such as the Astrolumina, a nighttime show that guests have the chance to experience that do cost extra. Like many of the larger attractions in the area, Anakeesta has worked hard to create or define different seasons by offering unique decorations, events, or just food items that celebrate each season. You will find that for each season there is a distinct change in flavor, and your experience will be slightly different. Choosing the right time of the year to visit will really make a difference with your experience. My goal is to help you figure out which season will offer you the best options for your vacationing needs. Just a side note, Anakeesta is an evolving entity that keeps changing what they offer. Because they keep changing their events and specific offerings, I'm gonna focus on the video on how the park decorates and when they change things up. There are a few new celebrations that they're trying out for the 2024 year that are new, which I will point out as we go. The first celebration I'm going to start with is spring. The spring season begins April 14th and ends May 29th. These dates also mark the beginning of Anakeesta's awakening. Before April, the park is closed most of the winter months, only open on weekends or holidays. And it makes sense that the park is closed for most of January through the middle of March. The Smokies are cold, and tourism dries up for those months. And hanging out the top of a cold mountain summit isn't on the top of most people's priority lists, and dangling off a chairlift in that weather, count me out. I'll wait until it gets warmer. I've made that mistake before and I won't be doing it again. On top of that, with the fluctuating weather, snow, and ice, many places in the Smoky Mountains, including the mountain roads, get closed frequently. A few inches of snow will cripple the area, leaving guests stranded until they can clear the roads. If you're like me from the north, a few inches of snow is just a minor inconvenience, but that isn't the case here. So Anakeesta, like the bear population, goes into partial hibernation. Once you hit March, the Smoky Mountains begin to wake up. This includes Anakeesta. The main difference being that they change from only open on the weekends to being open every day of the week. Anakeesta is trying a few new celebrations in the 2024 season. One is in March for St. Paddy's Day, and this will take place March 14th to the 17th. Now, if you've never been to the Smoky Mountains in the spring, you are missing a lot. During the spring, there are a plethora of wildflowers that can be found on the trails, along the roads, and of course, in Anakeesta. Okay, so those aren't wildflowers, but it still sounds cool to say. Anakeesta calls our springtime event the Blooms and Tunes celebration. During the celebration, they have different drinks, entertainment, and decorations that help define the change of the season. During the Blooms and Tunes celebration, the park offers live entertainment venues and maybe a drink cocktail that they feature on the menu. Unlike Dollywood, we haven't seen them offer any kinds of special foods during this celebration, but they do decorate. Anakeesta really does know how to create an amazing floral display and seem to take great pride in their gardens. And though they have pulled out larger-than-life flower sculptures, it's the real flowers that are the real showstoppers. Since I'm not much a botanist, I can't tell you the names of the flowers, but I could tell you that the park does an amazing job with colors, variants of plants, and layout. As you walk up and around the park, you can tell that they've put a lot of time and energy into the colorful fauna and large displays. Along the alley, the walkway that leads you to the Anakeesta Tower, are giant paint tubes that fill out with flowers that look like they are paint spilling out onto the grass. You will also notice large metal flower sculptures that are found throughout the park and trails. Along the entrance of the park, they also have a massive flower that guests can get a family photo of. Sorry, I didn't have a photo of that one, so just use your imagination. If you got the opportunity to visit Anakeesta for different celebrations, you might see how the park changes and move things around. One of these items is an old red truck. For the different seasons, they move it around and decorate it. It's almost like a game of Where's Waldo, but with the red truck. They also have accessories on some of the other sculptures around the park. The Willow Man might get a wreath hat, the bears might get a change of clothes, or you might see a Santa hat on one of the other bear sculptures. Since conception, Anakeesta has continued to improve, change, and invest in their appearance with each season, which makes it fun to visit year-round. Though they can't compete with Dollywood on the scale of decorations, they do a pretty good job of competing with the quality. And that says a lot about the place, that you can actually compare them. During the summer season, Anakeesta seems to tone down the over-the-top decorations and focuses more on letting guests just enjoy the natural beauty of the mountains themselves. The summer celebration is called Sunset in the Smokies. They're also adding a new celebration during the 2024 season called the United Tastes of America this year, which will start right before Memorial Day on May 24th and ends August 11th. From the name, I'm going to guess it will be a food-focused celebration. I'm excited to see what it will look like. It makes sense that the summer months are going to get busy. The crowds are much heavier, especially during the 4th of July, when many families have their vacations, kids are off, and the weather is more agreeable. If you do plan on visiting for the 4th of July, make sure you anticipate heavy crowds, especially in Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg has many things to do to celebrate the 4th of July. One of the most popular events is their 4th of July parade. Guests line up along the roads and sit for hours waiting for the parade. There's also fireworks, which are launched from the Space Needle in the center of Gatlinburg. These fireworks can be seen from the viewing platforms on Anakeesta, and many visitors take advantage of the opportunity to enjoy drinks and sitting from Anakeesta to watch them. In the past, Anakeesta also called the summer celebration the Sunset in the Smokies, which ran June 9th to September 4th. During this time, Anakeesta focuses their attention on offering guests a season of, summer. Also in the past, we've seen large Lego structures, and they will leave out the giant spring metal flower sculptures for most of this time as well. For the most part, the park puts away their seasonal sculptures and lets visitors enjoy the views of the surrounding area from various seating areas with Adirondack chairs and tables, lets children hop around the water features and watch the fish, and encourages guests to take in the live flower arrangements. This is also one of the best times to see Astrolumina Festival, as the nights are not as torturously cold in the summer as they can be in the spring and winter months. The summer months can get a little warm, and you'll always run into the chance of rain, so guests should consider checking on the forecast before making plans. At least there's the option to take the Ridge Rambler, the motorized transportation to the top and bottom of the mountains if the weather changes. Though I would highly suggest taking the chairlifts if the fear of heights or weather doesn't discourage you. The green-blue views of the mountains are worth the seeing from that vantage. Obviously, Anakeesta is trying to promote the idea of watching the sunset during the summer celebration. Many people take the opportunity to see the sun setting from the top of Anakeesta. Now, we have only made it one time to see the sun setting in Anakeesta on a clear day, and in theory, it should be an ideal place to observe the sun setting, since you have fantastic views of the mountains from Anakeesta. And though it was nice, I'm going to admit that it isn't the best place to observe this daily phenomenon. So far, one of my favorite places to sit and watch the sunset was at Clingman's Dome. Clingman's is accessible for everyone who has a car and is free. And since you are at a higher elevation than Anakeesta, you get a better view. But Anakeesta wasn't too bad. One of my favorite seasons to visit Anakeesta is the fall. In fact, it's one of my favorite times to visit any part of the Smoky Mountains. Unfortunately, it's also the hardest time for me to get down there since there are very few breaks in September and October for me to use. The fall celebration begins September 13th and ends October 31st, but we have been able to make it a few times to enjoy the leaves. The leaves start their change towards the end of September and finish changing usually by mid to end October. Not only are the colors and changes of the seasons an amazing phenomenon to see, but the town of Gatlinburg also breaks out their fall decorations. Anakeesta, along with many other businesses, including Dollywood, make a special attempt to highlight the season. With Anakeesta, their big promotion is their Bavarian Beer Festival. During this event, they promote local beer companies by offering visitors a chance to sample their products. Local participating brewers include the Gypsy Circus, Black Horse Brewery, and Tailgate Brewery, to name a few. Of course, you have to pay for the beer, but they do try and keep it local. Last year, it was $21.99 a person to have a chance to sample these beers. Now, since neither me or my husband drink beer, I can't tell you much more about it, but it seems like people were enjoying it. What I can talk about are their decorations. As with most of the seasons, Anakeesta does a spectacular job with their gardens. The bright yellows and oranges are on full display as you meander around the walkways. Everywhere you look are little fun decorations for fall or Halloween. Each year they seem to add more. You'll find that the archway bears are garbed for Oktoberfest celebration. The Willow Man has a yellow wreath of leaves on his head, and the red truck is decked out for the fall harvest. In the main walkway that leads you to the 60-foot-high metal spiral flower-inspired structure called Anakeesta Tower, you'll have the chance to walk under a shower of yellow lights. The Vista Garden becomes a graveyard with quirky tombstones, skeletons, and festive lighting. There isn't anything scary or haunted about their decorations, as all their props are family-friendly and lighthearted. Like many of the local businesses, they end their fall celebrations right after Halloween. The fall is also the one time of year I would encourage people to try and visit once during the daytime and again at night. Obviously, during the daytime, you can enjoy not only the natural beauty of the mountains, but also the park has so many fun and entertaining decorations. Many people will get in their cars, strap on their hiking shoes, and trek up to the mountains, either heading to the wildly popular Cades Cove, Clingman's Dome, or even Daisy Town, the revitalized ghost town in Elkmont. But once you've taken that splendor of the mountains in, you might need a place to stop, rest, and enjoy a meal, or just want a lazy moment to take in the mountains. This is when many people hop on a gondola or chairlift and head up to the top of Anakeesta. If you time things just right, you can stay until the sun sets and enjoy Anakeesta at night. And I would highly suggest you consider this plan, since Anakeesta does a really nice job at making the park light up. All the decorations change into a mountain of color and lights. Of course, the pumpkins can be the real showstoppers, though not on the scale of Dollywood. There really isn't much you can compare to Dollywood, but Anakeesta holds their own. They use jack-o'-lanterns to decorate almost every inch of the park. During the day, the bright orange colors keep the atmosphere light and fun. At night, the pumpkins are lit up and illuminated. You might see jack-o'-lantern caterpillars or a tower of pumpkins, but everywhere you look, there are lit up creations and pumpkins. Some would argue that the last celebration of the year is the best of all four. It's also one of the most crazy, busy, and insanely popular time of the year. Expect long lines, long waits, and higher prices for everything. And though it is the happiest time of the year for some, especially the business raking in the dough, it can also be very miserable if you don't plan ahead and moderate your expectations. So, if you haven't figured out what I'm referring to, it's Christmas in the Smokies. From the week of Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, the Smokies, well, not the actual mountains, they don't actually do much more than like snow a little here and there. But all the towns and cities around the Smokies certainly do go through a major festive facelift. It really is an amazing time to visit, and if you visit with the expectation that you will be visiting with hundreds of thousands of other people, you can have a great time. Now, if you have watched my channel long enough, you know that I'm a little bit of a Disney fan, so crowds don't faze me. But if you aren't used to that level of insanity, many visitors are slightly shocked and don't come mentally prepared. And Anakeesta is part of that insanity. Every year we've noticed an uptick in popularity lines and prices. But they do a good job of decorating for the season. Everywhere you look, you'll see signs of Christmas holiday, from colorful lights and decorations, Christmas products, and decor. The biggest change? The high volume of people who flood into the Smoky Mountains. Anakeesta takes a short break after the fall decorations to get ready for the Christmas season. The official start of the Christmas season is November 10th and ends December 31st. During the winter celebration, Anakeesta offers live entertainment, breakfast with Santa experience, which is pretty pricey, and lots of decorations. Not only do most of the polar sculptures get a makeover with outfits and Santa hats, but all around the park are garland and other festive garnishes. Anakeesta also has many photo opportunities, such as a large snow globe or a giant sled with reindeer, just to name a few. The red truck also makes an appearance at the top of the park. In 2023, it was part of the Christmas tree lot with trees for sale, though it was a creative use of the truck and the space, giving visitors an area to take more photos. Every nook and cranny is packed with Christmas trees and lights, wrapped gifts, and other festive decorations. The Anakeesta Tower, the heart of Anakeesta, was decked out. All 60 feet of the massive structure was wrapped in garland and topped with white lights. The walkway leading to the back end of the park, labeled Arctic Alley for the Christmas season, has strings of blue lights twinkling above guests as they walk through and under the canopy. There are a lot of lights everywhere you look. Nights are also the best time to visit Anakeesta during the Christmas season. Though the mountains are beautiful to look at, they're less green and more brown by November. So, visiting during the day is less rewarding, but still nice to see. But nights, that's when the magic happens. It also makes sense that the Christmas season is much colder as you are heading towards late fall and early winter. To keep guests from getting too cold, the park has space heaters randomly placed in places. There are also a few fire pits for guests to get warmed up by, but these chairs and spaces get filled when it's cold. And it does get cold. So I highly suggest bringing layered clothes, gloves, and hats if you're there at night. Though, if you forget, Anakeesta will kindly offer all kinds of warm weather apparel in their shops at a premium price, of course. After December 31st, Anakeesta goes into slumber mode, not waking again until the middle of March again. Though they have opening hours during the weekends, you'll see a steep decline in traffic and crowds. Obviously, Valentine's and President's Day will see a small uptake, but if you want to enjoy the park with less crowds, this is the best time to try. So, what is the best time to visit Anakeesta? Making that call really depends on what kind of vacation you want and how willing you are to deal with the crowds. Each celebration is something new and different, and each year, Anakeesta continues to grow and expand. Personally, I enjoy the fall time the best, since the temperatures are still warm but not too hot and the colors are just amazing. But there are advantages and things to enjoy and see every time of the year. I hope this video helps you plan your visit. Please note that we at BearFacts do not get paid or any kickbacks from talking about these businesses. You're getting an honest review from our personal experiences. But facts and things change, so please let us know if you've learned anything new and want to share your experiences in the comments. Thanks again for visiting us at BearFacts of the Smoky Mountains. Please click that like button and subscribe to our channel.